What's good, everybody? It's your host, Ed Blair. You are now tuned in to the second part of the episode. This fella right here, I had the privilege of meeting him back in high school. He's a super talented producer, also an entrepreneur, has his own brand that he's built up, also as a videographer, has a clothing line as well that's pretty dope. And I'm not going to talk y'all to death, I'm going to just go ahead and get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I got Lashaun, Pierre, SL in the building. How you doing?
Well, I'm pretty good. I'm tired, but good. I just moved into my place. Basically, I finally moved everything in yesterday.
Okay.
So,
getting settled in and everything.
Yeah, man, I was hoping I would have got it done, but I didn't get my desk completely put together as soon as I thought I was. I thought I was going to be able to do this from my office, but I didn't get all that set up as soon as I thought I would, but it's all good.
Thanks. So, congratulations on that. I do want to also congratulate you on the new clothing line as well. It represents the brand and what you stand for. It got your name on it as well, which is pretty dope. The logo altogether is pretty dope. So I just want to get started, man. When you got started, did you start out as an artist or were you just always a producer?
Oddly enough, this all started, it's been years, but it did all start from rapping.
Okay.
But over time, it just wasn't a thing for me. Like the whole process, I'm an overthinker. Mm-hmm. So the writing process, like I can start writing and then my mind goes a million miles per hour and I get lost in writing. So I kind of was like, I don't think this is the thing for me. A lot of people say I had the voice for it, but it just wasn't the thing.
Understandable.
So I eventually transitioned from that to engineering. This was back in the cool edit days. So, this was way before everything that, I'm not going to say way before was everything that's out now, but what everybody is commonly using now. So, transitioned to the engineering. Engineering was cool, but that was another thing where I was like, I don't think this is actually where I want to be with it. So, I think the graphic design thing came first.
Okay.
That was the next transition. And that was something I just kind of stuck with. I started out with this program called GIMP. It was free, but I started out with that. And for the longest, I just was afraid to use Photoshop because I just knew nothing about it. But now it's the only thing I use outside of a couple other programs. But I didn't put the graphic design to the side, but that was just one aspect that I kind of locked in on. And from there, that transitioned into the videos. And from there, I started producing. And the producing pretty much strongly came from the time period in which my equipment got stolen. So I couldn't do any videos.
So you was forced to do something else for it.
I was forced to do something else to fill that creative void that, it was a hole. So I channeled everything into that. And, years later, here it is. I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything still outside of the rapping and the engineering. Those two things I haven't touched since I left home.
Understandable. So, since we're talking about humble beginnings, let's take it way back. You got the Way2Raw movement. How did that come about? And, are you the founder of that?
Yes. So it all started with Way2Raw, honestly. Well, originally, it actually started with my homies, my boy Cassius, Terrell. I'm quite sure you might know Darius.
Darius who?
Why can't I think of bro last name right now?
Did he go to Central?
Yes, sir. Glasses.
Maybe.
That's crazy. I can't think of his last name right now. But his rap name was D-Bomb at the time. It was him and Kerwin and Chris. And they had this group called Heavy Style. And, you know, that was basically like the label they had established. Like, we were young as hell. Like, this was 8th grade. And for the longest, I wanted to be a part of it. But, you know, the way they had it set up, it was like, you know, there was brothers at that time period. So, you know, it was kind of catered to them. So it was like that desire to want in on something else made me create something on my own. At the time, you know, everybody couldn't go to where people was recording at that time period. So I was like, I'm going to just start my own stuff. Just so I don't have to worry about this. And we have a secondary place to go to record and do this and do that. And it was 2008, exactly. I actually just tweeted this morning that it's been 12 summers since Way2Raw started. And it started in 2008. It was me, my cousin, whose current name now at this current time is Lashaun. That's his artist name. If you go and look up any of my work, you're going to see his name all across the board. That's one of the main people still from that time period up until now that I'm still working with. I mean, outside of him being related to me. So it was him, our cousin Chucky, basically the little brother, VJ, our little cousin Chucky, and it was basically us at first. It was one night we was kicking it, and if I'm not mistaken, it's crazy how it all started. I filmed them doing a dance routine, and that was the name I came up with. And I can give you the exact origins of the name. The name Way2Raw actually comes from a T.I. verse. At the time, it was like after I had recorded them, I was editing the video, and I was like, we need to come up with a name. And I was listening to T.I. It was Hurt. The song Hurt. And he said that, and I don't know why that part stuck, but that part stuck. And I was like, I could write this the correct way, but I was like, I want it to look different. Right. So I was like, we're going to use the number 2. And it was just, I don't know. It was crazy how the name came about. And I don't even think it was 2 days later. It was like a day later. I had a microphone. I had one of the little $10 microphones you can get from Walmart. I had that, and I was like, yo, we should record some songs. I still have the very first 3 songs we have ever recorded. I still have them in my possession. And we recorded 2 songs the first night. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. That was my very first time actually engineering something. And it was
had to get you maybe
so it was maybe 2 days later, our homeboy Jamil came into the fold. And once he came in, that was the piece. Once he came in, we recorded 3 more songs. Came out much better. Those were for beginning times of somebody, of anybody recording, especially back in 2008. Right. Those were solid. They were solid songs. And we spent the entire summer, we used to basically give my mama money to use her car. So it was like the red Suzuki. We rode that the whole summer listening to our songs. And what was messed up was something was wrong. Something had happened with the audio to where the vocals was only coming out of one side.
Oh man.
So it was like you heard all beat, but all vocals on the left side of the car. But you know, that was the start. That was pretty much where it started. And in the midst of that, a friendship developed between. I mean, Jamil was the friend, but you know, of course, the other three we were cousins.
Yeah.
So
that bond was there, like a brotherhood.
That bond was there, and that's where the brotherhood basically started. And the next 2 years are kind of fuzzy because I'm not exactly sure what the. I know the year after we were still going, and I believe Jamil Millsy, that is his name now. He bought a mic.
Okay,
like that was the first like studio mic we had access to. Nope, I take that back. What happened was we was recording still. I ended up losing the microphone. So we didn't record for a while. I ended up getting a mic from Terrell, my boy Rally Rail, RDC.
Okay, heard of him.
I got a microphone from him, and we used that. And it ended up being spring of 2010. Very interesting time period. My jaw was broken. I had got into a situation on the south side, unfortunately. And
Kazoo or Chi-Town?
Yeah, Kazoo. And yeah, I ended up getting a broken jaw. Still got screws and plates all up in this area from that.
Damn.
Yeah, and I came to Chicago for spring break. This was maybe 2 weeks after that happened to me. And, you know, everybody, like, that was the first time everybody in Chicago had saw me since the incident. And, you know, everybody was upset. And I was like, I just want to record.
Right.
And that's what we did. We recorded right on my older cousin, LaWanda. We recorded right on her front porch. And what songs did we record? It was one of the J Mill beats. Man, that was a good time period for music. Like, that was when seeking instrumentals. A lot of people don't understand that struggle. A lot of people don't understand that struggle of searching for an instrumental that was so dope. It's like, man, I gotta record on this.
Lil Wayne set the tone for us. We had that honor and privilege of seeing that firsthand.
Definitely.
But I agree, man. It was a good period. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with my start, but I was in a group called The Heartthrob. It was me, Zach Bowden, and Devery.
Yes, sir.
We started at the same time as y'all.
Yes,
recording on Radio Shack mics with the stocking, pop block, all that. I'm familiar.
Yes. Yeah, man. So,
but I would definitely agree with you and say that was good times. Now, I do want the fans to get to know more about you individually. So, like, what was your experience like when you growing up in Kazoo, and then how was that transition from Chicago to Kazoo for you? Because you was born and raised in Chicago, right, initially?
I mean, it's interesting how I don't even know how to explain that. All I can tell people is it took two cities to raise me.
Mm-hmm.
And it did, because, when I was younger, I hated the fact that I was in Kalamazoo. Like, I absolutely despised it because I knew I wasn't at home.
Right.
It's like, maybe if I would have got, my mom moved us there when I was 4.
Mm.
So school is all I know in regards to, that's what I know in regards to Kalamazoo.
Right.
But it's like I would come to Chicago summer, spring break, winter break. Those time periods I was here. So I experienced both cities every year, all the time. So that's all I know.
Right.
So it's interesting because I'm 30 now. For 30 years, 26 because I was there when I was 4. I've been able to compare and contrast two places. Mm-hmm. And one thing I will say, and this is to all the people in Kalamazoo, because I want y'all to understand this, and this is coming from somebody that's experienced 2 different places.
Right.
Kalamazoo people are very fortunate. Very fortunate. I am very fortunate that my mom moved me there because I would be a completely different person today had she not. I know that for a fact. Like, I can say that because, unfortunately, it's sad to see the current state of Kalamazoo. I would have never thought it would get to the point that it is right now.
Yeah.
That was the difference for me. I got to get away from that. I was fortunate over my cousins that had to stay here all the time, right. The whole 365. I only had to be here for a couple months at a time, and then I got to leave. So it's like, yes, I endured a lot of the stuff that comes with Chicago, but I didn't have to stay.
Right, you wasn't full time and deep in the shit.
Yeah, I had an option to leave. I had an option to go. And not until I got older did I truly understand that and appreciate that about, my mom making that move. Like, it was the best one because based on how I was coming up, because, man, I had an attitude problem when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And if I would have been here full time,
just a whole different ball game.
It would have been it would have been a different type of monster. Like, the energy I put into my creative space would be getting put somewhere else. And I know that for a fact because at times in my life, I've been tried and put in situations where that was an option I could have took, and I did not because of the other experiences I've seen.
You was able to see that it was more to life, and that
for sure. And then
a lot of that be green on the other side.
A lot of that goes to my dad. My dad was never. My dad was never in the streets. Mm-hmm. That was the one thing that I always grew up with. Is I don't have to be out there.
Right.
For what? My dad had all the respect in the neighborhood as anybody else could have, and there's still to this day nothing thuggish about my dad. There's nothing hardcore about my dad. There's none of those things. He's always been loving. He's always been caring. He's been open-hearted.
You get what you put out into the atmosphere.
Those were the things I grasped on. So that's how I carried myself out here.
I dig it. So on top of that, since we on the topic of comparing the two, are you involved in both music scenes, like, currently? Like, do you, like, tap in when you in Chicago?
So this is a crazy thing. I moved back to Chicago at the wake of the music scene bubbling here. Okay. So I moved back to Chicago in the midst of Chief Keef and them signing. I was in Chicago when Finally Rich dropped. So I was here for all of that.
That's what's up.
So yes, I was a major part of that time period for Chicago, because that was when all the artists were starting to emerge. So I shot a lot of first videos for a lot of people. And I missed a lot of opportunities for things too within that time period. But that just goes, that comes with it. But I was part of the major part, even all the way down to, because I'm from the West Side. So even when the whole bopping scene and that surfaced and emerged and developed, I was a part of all of that. Like, I have videos of my YouTube alone from start, like, if you go back to my first works back in 2012 up until now, will literally take you down a tunnel of my experience. because you're going to see it, because it starts somewhere else, and it goes somewhere else, and it goes back here, and it goes back there. But it's been in between Kalamazoo and Chicago the entire time that I've been, through the name changes and everything. Like, Way2Raw is the only thing that's always been its own thing.
I did that. So
everything.
So I would ask, between the two music scenes in KZoo and Chicago, what would you say some of the similarities are, and then what are the major differences that you noticed as well?
Ooh. Originality. Originality is one of the biggest things that's different about Chicago scene and the Kalamazoo scene. It's a lot of people, like, for it to be as small as it is, you would expect so many different things to come out of it. Mm-hmm. Not saying that it doesn't, but it does. But unfortunately, as far as, I'm going to put it like this, as far as how things are seen and things are viewed there is completely different. The music scene here actually functions as its own thing, completely separated from the industry. Chicago music scene has its own industry within the city. That is the biggest difference. Kalamazoo does not have its own industry within its city. Or even, I'm not even going to say Kalamazoo because Kalamazoo is small. Chicago is much bigger. So I'm going to say that area from like Detroit down to Kalamazoo, there's no industry.
Right.
Detroit has its own industry, but you have connecting cities that I feel like Kalamazoo could be working with to create that full circle. Like, I feel like that triangle between Battle Creek, Kalamazoo, and Grand Rapids should be spinning.
Yeah,
everybody should be, and even Lansing. Throw Lansing in there too. Those spots should be the functioning spots for music outside of Detroit.
I agree.
Those should be the main key areas, and because they're not, that is mind-boggling. It seems like everything is everywhere.
I agree.
There's no organization. Like, I don't know exactly where to go and get this. It seems like there's one person that does everything. Absolutely. And it's not. There's multiple people.
I agree.
Whereas here, many names, many faces, many people do this. It's managers. It's literally its own industry here.
Now, would you ever come back to Kalamazoo and take like what you've learned and experienced in Chicago and try to bring that to the scene?
I've been trying to do that for years.
Yeah.
The interesting thing with me is, I don't know. I guess I don't appeal to, I appeal to certain people in Kalamazoo.
I feel that.
And don't get me wrong, my fan base is actually a whole lot more solid in Kalamazoo. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Chicago, I kind of just get to fall into the hole with everybody else. And I'm just there. Whereas Kalamazoo, if you know of my work and you know of me, you know. So it's like when you see me, you know who I am. You know what I do.
Right.
It's not like that here in Chicago, which is a good thing for me. Like, I like that because that's going to keep me hungry in all of it. But yeah, I mean, man, I have people ask me for advice. I have people come to me for all types of things, from getting their business started, creative choices, even to just talk about music, or even just to talk in general. Like that's just something that I've always done. I've always been open with what I know. And I've tried multiple times to come across Kalamazoo people and extend my arm to bring them in to what's going on here.
Right.
And nobody really reaches back. And
definitely, I understand that.
It doesn't upset me, but at the same time, I'm looking at them like, look, I know people here just like I know people there. The difference is the people here that I know here can do way more for you than the people I know that's doing something there.
Right.
And like, I know a lot of people here that do a lot of stuff from, like, I'm talking about a lot of those large things. Like, I've been in the studios with these artists that seem like they're big, huge celebrities to everybody else. They're not that to me. They're people that I live in the same city with. So I've crossed paths with the Dirks, and I think the only person I've never like seen in person or like crossed paths with was Keith.
Well, he in Cali now, I think.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but even with him, when I was living here, one of the girls that rapped with us in Way2Raw used to go to his house regularly. So it's like, it's not like these people aren't unreachable.
Right. It's like Detroit celebrities stuff, basically.
It's exactly. And that's, I've been trying to make that known to people like, yo, all we got to do is go to this event. You're going to be in the same room with all these people. I invite people down here all the time, but, you know, a lot of people get lost in what's going on in the media.
Yeah.
And they get spooked out. And one thing about me is, like, when people come here and you're with me, or you're with me and my people, we don't put people in we don't put ourselves in situations, let alone put people in situations that, especially if we know you're not from here, or you ain't never been here, or you've never like really, because a lot of people come to Chicago and they strictly go downtown.
Right, north side.
That doesn't count for me. As a native, as somebody that's been all like, yes, I'm from the west side, but I've had time periods on every side of town here. I've lived on about 3 different sides, suburbs. I've experienced a lot here. I've touched a lot here. It's a lot of ground to touch.
Oh yeah, it can be a beautiful place despite the negative pictures that
you know. You just got to know the areas not to be in. I mean, yes, there's violence here. That's everywhere. For the most part, the biggest misconception about that is that it happens everywhere. That's not the case.
Yeah. Well, let's tap more into like your albums and stuff, bro. You got like beat tapes for days. You got a whole bunch of positive things. I mean, you putting on for Chicago.
Okay, so look, the beat tapes that's an interesting topic. So the beats I originally made when it was 2013. Same year, 2013 was when my MacBook got stolen. All I had was the PC left. The little laptop, screen completely cracked on it. I had to hook it up to I think I had like a 40-inch TV. I made, that was towards the end of the summer, all the way through the winter. And I left that April. So I was making beats all the way up to that point. And I think I made over 100 and something. I really put time into them and made sure they sounded right. And
that's what you ended up spreading out sporadically on the tapes that's on like Apple Music and everything?
Well, what happened was I moved back to Kalamazoo. Moved out to Copper Beach.
Oh, okay.
And when I say everything that I owned, everything was stolen. Everything. So my camera, the laptop, my clothes, everything. I was literally left with the outfit I had on that day and my phone and my phone charger.
Damn.
So I lost everything. When I say I lost everything, I literally lost everything that was Way2Raw. I lost everything that was like the beginning stages of everything. Like that was literally everything was gone. So I literally have bits and pieces. So some of those beats that are on those beat tapes are from 2013 that I was able to recover from emails and stuff like that.
Okay.
But a lot of them I made our beats that I made over the course of the years, and I just never put them out. And what made me put the first beat tape out was I think I made like half of that tape was pre-made, and the other half I had made specifically for the tape to fill it out.
Okay.
And I was like, these need to be heard. And I got tired of trying to, get people to rap on them. And sometimes when I make beats, I can't hear anybody rapping on them.
Mm-hmm.
I just hear a good sounding beat that just let this play.
And there's a lot of dope producers that do that, drop albums and beats. Jay Dilla, R.I.P., Exile, quite a few. Knife Wonder. Who would you say inspires you as a producer?
As a producer? I can give you specifics. As far as producing, Timbaland for sure. Mm-hmm. Like, Timbaland is by far, like, I have to say he's number one for me. As far as like the whole hip hop R&B genre goes, because he can be all over, and he's one of the few that was around back then that's still around now, and you still know his sound when you hear it, but it's not the repetitive sound that's out right now.
Facts.
Timbaland, and this is one that you may not know of this dude, but I'm going to explain who he is for the sake of the podcast, because he's not going to be a common household name. But Jim Johnston.
I feel like I heard the name, though.
Jim Johnston is the producer that is responsible for all the music for, at the time period, WWF and WWE, all the way up until I think maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
So all the theme songs we've ever heard, all the entrance music, all that, like, he's responsible for that. So the Undertaker theme song, Stone Cold. And I've recently been listening to podcasts where they've been talking to him and asking him where his inspiration came behind that. So it's been interesting to hear that. But he is one of the dopest producers there. That, like I said, that's not a common name that gets thrown out there, but he's definitely on my top five. I can definitely say that. Those two for sure. And my homeboy Sandstorm. Not many people know of him. He's from Kalamazoo. Anybody that went to Norks, if you went during the time period in which Officer McDowell was there, it's his son. He is fire, has been fire from the day I met him all the way up until now. He is fire. He is one of the most unheard people I've fired. Like, everything I've ever requested out of him, anything that I've come to him like, yo, bro, I need a beat specifically for this, he never fails to deliver.
That's what's up.
Fire. Who else?
So you got three, so you might as well just do the top five.
DJ L. For those that may not know who DJ L is from Chicago. That's the producer responsible for a lot of G Herbo's first songs back when he was Lil Herb. If you ever heard the soundtrack, oh my God, what is this? An L beat? That's DJ L. DJ L is responsible for everything you're listening to right now. And I will argue with anybody about it. The drill sound came from DJ L. DJ L is the one that perfected that sound. And the first time it got stolen was when Nicki did Chirac, ironically, with Lil Herb. Mm. That sound, those hi-hats, and that whole, the UK drill sound, that NY drill sound, that all that Pop Smoke. Right now, I can tell you right now, if you go on YouTube and type in DJ L and listen to his beats from now all the way to back then, you're going to hear all the sounds. When I say all the sounds, I'm talking about the voxes, vocal chops. You know this language, so you know what I'm talking about. You're going to hear all of those things from his work. And I'm talking about from years ago. DJ L is cold, and he's very slept on as well. And let's see, number five. It's kind of hard. Who's number five? Dang. See, my five is interesting. It's different, man. I like that. I've never said this out loud, or who my top five was. I gotta say the fifth one. I gotta say Zaytoven.
Okay. I can see that.
Zaytoven. The elevation, and he was a part of that new age trap sound, man. He was part of the reason the sound of the South changed. I would say the Lex Lugers and the South Sides, they come right after that for sure. But if we speaking as far as like people that really get busy on the keys and actually know music, those five I said know it for sure.
Okay. So I see you got 3 projects yourself, beat tapes, and then you released one recently. Do you got some more beats in the vault that you plan to release, or are you just gonna chill?
Okay, so I actually I got inspired to do another one today when I put out that it's been 12 summers. So y'all hearing it now, that's gonna be the name of the next one. It's gonna be 12 summers, and I got plenty of beats in the vault. There's some that actually, when I just released this last one, that I was supposed to put on there, but I think I was rushing it and I completely missed them. So those will be on there, and I'm probably going to add in a couple. I think I'm gonna this one. I'm gonna just let it roll out and let it be 12. Okay. 12 altogether. So I'm gonna attempt to see if I have 6 that are already made that I want to put on there, and then
build from there.
Which I am. I mean, what's probably going to happen is, because of what happened with the tapes, is some of those beats are actual songs. So on the tape, they're instrumentals, but they're actual songs as well. So, and at first I didn't want to do that, but I'm like, well, the music is protected either way.
You ever thought to do like a compilation album with like every song you ever produced and just put it out as like a compilation and get an artist they credit that way?
Well, ironically, Lashaun is finally about to put out his first EP, and that is exclusively produced by me. Okay. So I think all of maybe one of the beats that he used, they're not on the beat tapes. There's only one song that I know for sure that's on the beat tape. Everything else is stuff that hasn't been heard. So he actually will be one of the first ones to drop a project that has any source of any beat from me. And I actually just recently shot a video for a song for my boy OG Luciano, Sanitize. I produced that. So that was the first time I had somebody record outside of artists that were under the Way2Raw umbrella.
That's what's recording
on a song.
So what would you say your goals are, like both as a producer and as a videographer?
The crazy thing about all of this is I only learned this to teach it to other people. Uh-huh. And when I say that is because, I enjoy doing it for therapeutical reasons. As far as the job aspect of it, I hate that.
Gotcha.
It spoils it a little bit. And, I just like being creative and finding ways to express myself creatively. That's what I do with these things. And ultimately is, right now it's just me. But my ultimate goal is, Tyler Perry basically laid out the blueprint. I want to infiltrate media. And, in order to do anything in media, you got to know how it works. You got to know what goes into making it happen.
Right.
So I'm getting my feet dirty so I can get to that point where I can lead the herd. Like, look, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And if that person goes to me and be like, well, I think somebody was trying to call me. But if they don't know how to do it, I can show them how to because I know how to. Or I know people that know how to.
You want to own like your own studio like Tyler Perry?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I want to do that for Chicago for sure. You know, and this is no disregard to, you know, Kalamazoo, but I feel like Kalamazoo is well taken care of. I can say that for the fact that, you know, the Promise is one major piece of why I can say that confidently. Chicago doesn't have anything like that. Okay. And
that would be your way of giving back to Chicago, basically.
Oh, yeah. I want to give them something to do here. They don't have anything to do. Like, I see it firsthand. I've been a part of it firsthand. I understand. And it's a lot of talented people here. It's a lot of talent in the city. Like, the dope thing about Chicago is that you can find talent anywhere here at the most spontaneous moment and in the most random spots.
So are you going to tap into doing like movies or anything and creating jobs for actors and actresses and people that want to direct and stuff like that?
Yes. Ultimately, that's what I want to do. I want to do full-blown films, feature films, short films, and a couple series. Like, I got ideas, but I'm also aware that I can't pull these things off by myself. So there's some people that I have to pull in to help me pull them off. But
which will create more jobs.
Exactly. And I just I want to set things up to where, you know, one thing I learned about business and in business, well, good business is you should always create win-win situations.
Right.
And if it's not set up like that, I'm not touching it and I'm not presenting it to anybody. So until things are that way, I'm not presenting anything to anyone. Now, if you want to jump along and raise your sleeves up and get dirty with me through this, the door is open. But I understand if so you're not confident in what's going on right now. But I'm telling you where it's going and where it's headed. Like, the fact that a couple things bother me about media. It's corrupted, for one. We don't have any of it that's really ours. Like, we have Revolt, but I feel like Diddy is doing a horrible job with Revolt. There should be a whole lot more content on there, and it's not. I know too many people that have content that can be placed on a platform and put out there. We don't have UPN anymore. Like, why do we not have that? And that was a network strictly for us.
Mm-hmm.
That had content strictly for us. Content that made us feel like we were at least connected to the outside world outside of our reality. We don't have that anymore. BET is not owned by a Black person anymore.
So I think the best thing to do, since you are directing and you got these ideas, I would just say put them together, silently work them out. And then once you got enough in the vault, tap in and see how you can create your own stream platform. That way you can just put out exclusive Lashaun Pierre content and then have maybe people subscribe to it. Then you got your own Black network.
Owned by because you. The biggest thing, like, I had this conversation with people is a lot of people ask me why I don't upload I don't like uploading to YouTube. As a content creator, I hate YouTube. But as a viewer, I love YouTube. I love the access to knowledge and the things I have access to, but I don't like the politics and the rules. I don't like any of that. I don't like being told what to do with what I'm creating.
Right.
Like, okay, all right, maybe this is a little too risque, but that's the whole point of trying things. And if I can't try things on your platform, why am I uploading on it?
Facts. That's why you gotta start your own, bro. Because then if you got people paying for your content, if they like it, then you recouping what you putting into it. And then after that, you can invest that in everything else you want to do and do bigger projects.
Exactly.
I would definitely tap into that, bro. Definitely look into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some research. I got to because I'm starting.
Now, as a businessman, what would you say your goals are?
That's something I've been working out because I'm not sure. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure. I'm not.
Because you got multiple outlets, so it's like you're not one dimensional. So it's like it don't necessarily just got to be a business plan for one thing. Like it could just be like an overall plan that, you know, interprets all your side hustles and the main thing you want to do. Because I mean, the directing, that's a big one, and then you do the beats on the side. That could also be big, but then it's like, you got anything else you want to tap into while you got the voice and the attention from everybody?
Well, ultimately, this is something else I need to look into. I want to go into
you got the clothing line too, so
yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily a clothing line. It's just shirts that I put my logo on just to have some merch to represent the brand, and
you could turn it like into one though if you want.
Yeah.
To.
Oh yeah. I just, once again, my biggest thing right now, like my main focus right now for the brand is building the team for the brand. Okay. Because otherwise I'm going to overwhelm myself. Because there's a lot of stuff I want to do and a lot of stuff that I want to get done. And if I don't get a team to execute, I'm going to crumble. Or it's going to take me more time. And it's like, that's not moving smart if I know I can get it done in less time if I have more people to pull it off.
That makes sense.
And I just want more people involved. Like,
some things you might have to start up by yourself and get rolling by yourself, of course. But in due time, you know, you'll definitely build that team and get to where you're trying to be. But I definitely wouldn't just, you know, like let everything you want to do just sit there, because some stuff you can do by yourself and be successful still. Like Tyler Perry, for example, his first play, he just flipped his tax return into that, and then Madea blew up, and then he just became a millionaire off one character. I mean, you know, like I can't tell you what to do with what you got going on, but I'm just saying, like, you could flip your hustles into one thing, and then that might take off for you, and, you know, never know. Just got to take a risk sometimes, even if it is by yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one of my biggest things at the beginning, was that, you know, not taking the risk, you know, and ultimately that put me behind in a sense, because, you know, like when my earlier work, from the beats, even video work, I was ahead of my time. Like the stuff I was doing then is a lot of the stuff I'm seeing now. But when I was doing it then, I was being told, "Why are you doing it like that? That's not how anybody does it right now. That's not," like, I was being treated like I was doing it wrong, but I was ultimately doing it different. And now I'm seeing it now.
Right.
Like,
people just be trying to knock you off your square, and then
a lot of the ideas I had in my head in regards to videos, the fact that people are doing all of this rotoscoping and masking, at the time, I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know what it was called. I just knew it was something that I wanted to utilize to do certain things in videos for ideas I had. And here it is years later, all this YouTube information that's showing you how to do this stuff. Mm-hmm. I had no access to any of it. So it was like everything I know was self-taught. And here it is now, I'm showing people how to do certain things.
And that goes back to what we was talking about, man. You got the knowledge, you're self-aware, and you really don't need nobody at this point. I would just say, just whatever you got in mind that you want to do, bro, just go for that shit, and then invest here and there when you can. And then eventually everything else will just fall into place, man. Cause like we only get what we put into things, in return. So like, I would just say go. It's 2020. You don't really need a degree to do much. You ain't really got to pay nobody to do nothing for you no more. Just be a self-starter, bro. Just keep that shit rolling. Cause you got the platforms, you got the tools you need to succeed.
Oh, most definitely.
You can definitely be a one-man army out here, bro. For real.
Definitely.
So I do wanna ask, let's say you got your studios, your clothes, you selling your merch, it's popping, your beats going like crazy. What would be the next phase for you if once you hit that point?
Voice acting.
Voice acting. I could see that. You kind of give me like the that's all state stands. Are you in good hands?
Yeah.
I'm just fucking with you.
Even back in high school, I can't think of the counselor's name, because the crazy thing, when I was in high school, I saw my counselor 3 times.
Uh-huh.
I literally saw her 3 times. So I don't remember her name. But every time I saw her, those 3 times, was one thing she always said to me. Like, have you ever thought about doing radio?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, I haven't. I've never thought about that. But I love cartoons. I love animation and stuff like that. Not necessarily anime. I don't want to put that out there and people, they get well, what do you watch? Barely none of it. I know about a lot of it, but all of that anime stuff, it's too long. A lot of it is very long. It's like years and years of it. So for me to even start it and catch up, I would have to literally be doing nothing. And I'm not going to do that to myself. I just watch y'all talk about it in comments and tell me how dope it is and just take your word for it. Dragon Ball Z got enough years out of me as is. I can't keep up with anime. But I love the side of it. I love the way it looks. Like, I look into it from the artistic aspect. Like, animation is dope as hell to me. And it's the one thing that, I still want to put that under my wing.
That's what's
It's something I want to do. That's ultimately, if I don't do anything else, I want to at least put out my own cartoon.
That would
before
be
it's
hot.
all said and done.
That would be hot. Now, do you want to tap into acting as well? I mean, you can direct and act too if you chose to.
I don't necessarily know if I want to do the acting part. If it's going to be any acting, it's going to be voice acting. That, it's less work. I feel like acting, that's a heavy schedule. Uh-huh. That's not something I would necessarily want to inherit. But voice acting is dope to me. Like, being able to change your voice, adjust how it sounds. Like, and I've always done that. I'm the only child, so I had to be my own friend a lot of the time when I was a kid. So right. I can make, I can come up with some stuff. I can make it feel like there's more than one person in the room easily. And yeah, like that. Yeah, that's definitely ultimately like my ultimate goal. If I don't do anything other than that, and there's 2 other things. It doesn't even necessarily have to be animated, but just for the sake of having the creative freedom, I want a show on Adult Swim.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I know I would have no limits and I could expose and talk about the things that need to be talked about in the media. And they don't get that light because we don't have the Boondocks anymore. We don't have those shows that gave you those slow pokes at what's really going on out here. And I feel like Adult Swim is one of the only lanes. Them are Comedy Central. But I say Adult Swim because I've seen the most ridiculous things of my lifetime on Adult Swim.
Right.
And I feel like that would be the perfect platform for me to unleash on them. And I want to do a film with Pixar.
Okay.
Pixar's animation is by far my favorite. I love Pixar. So I want to do a film with them. Those three things, if I can do those three things and nothing else, I'll be satisfied.
That's what's up. Well, I tell you what, instead of saying if, it's when. So when you do those things, you'll be satisfied. You gotta speak it to existence, bro.
True that.
I have a thing that I do on the show, a couple things that I do on the show towards the end.
Okay.
The first is I usually have my guests, if they're musically inclined, tell me who their top 5 MCs are in their hometown. But you have 2 hometowns. So what I would like for you to do, give me a top 5 in Kalamazoo and then a top 5 in Chicago.
Ooh, top 5? No order. No order. Kalamazoo. I'm going to say Really Real RDC for sure. Most definitely. Paper Jew.
All right, Free Pape.
Definitely Free Pape. I need that in my ears. Top 5 in Kalamazoo. That kid Derry.
Okay.
My guy Derry.
I ain't checked on him in a minute, but shout out to Derry.
For sure. For sure.
He doing his fatherhood thing right now.
Yeah, man. You know, he holding it down on that aspect. Got to put my boy OG Luciano in there. What's so crazy is we just shot our first videos. I shot 2 videos with him, and they got to be 2 of my best that I've done in a long time. But fire, like lyrically fire.
I actually heard of him recently. My boy Brandon put me on him.
Yeah, he goes off the top. Fire.
Okay,
and then
got one more in Kazoo.
I gotta say, top 5. Number 5. Who would I put? And these names I'm putting out are people that are active. You know, no disrespect. You know, I can throw out names, but these are people that are active and recently, or at least recently, sent me some music. Right. So there's no, like, it's a lot. I can keep on with the list, but as far as top 5,
it's all good.
I gotta go with my boy Jay Wood.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with him too. I heard about him.
Got to go with my boy for sure.
Shout
and
out
them just the top 5 I'm thinking about right now, man, off the top of my head for sure. But those, yes, for sure.
All right, and then the last 5 from Chirac.
From Chicago. Top 5. Okay, so number 1, and I'm saying number 1, Dreezy.
All right.
Dreezy. She's cold. She cold. If you're not hip to her, get hip. And I'm not talking about the R&B. I'm talking about bars. Like, look up her rap. Dreezy. Nonchalant. It's my cousin, but fire. My boy King Millsy. Gotta look him up. Professor Mike. If you ain't hip to him either, you gotta tap in with Professor Mike. 5, I'm gonna go industry on you. Dirk.
Okay. I thought you was gonna hit me with G Herbo.
Because like I said, the Chicago scene is so it's so widespread. It's hard to really contain the top 5 because some of those names I included aren't industry names. Only 2 of the 5 are industry names.
Right.
But because I've heard so many people here, I can tell people all the time, the stuff y'all hear industry-wise from Chicago is fire. Oh, yeah. But if you were to come here and hear a car driving past and you hear a certain song, you would think it's something interesting. It's not. It's local.
And that's how it should be, man.
Fire.
Now, so I definitely appreciate you. Sure. I appreciate you for giving me your top 10 and making it, half and half. I do want to allow our viewers, listeners, followers, subscribers to tap in with you. Where can they follow you at on social media? And then how can an aspiring artist or actor or actress get in touch with you if they want to put some work in?
For right now, the best way to get to me is my Instagram, just because my Instagram will lead you down the tunnel hole of everything else. You go to my Instagram, which is LPGWSL. In that, right there, my bio is a link to literally everything that's attached to my brand, from the YouTube, the Facebook, the IG itself, and the actual personal LPG website, which is lpsllllc.com.
Okay.
So,
and that's where the merch
if you want to
is
get
at
access
too.
to me, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the easiest way to get to me is Instagram. I also have a QR link that you can find located on across all my social medias that you can just easily whip out your phone and scan and take you directly to a page with every link that goes to all of my pages.
Okay. You got a podcast too, right?
Yeah, man. I got the Way2Raw podcast. Now that I'm in my own space and I'm finally settled, I'll be able to launch that. The prelude is still online. It's on all streaming platforms currently. That was the main thing I was waiting for. It took forever for Apple to clear me for the upload. So I was waiting on that. So now that I have that, now I know that when I drop this the first official episode, everything's gonna upload properly and go to the proper channels. It's difficult getting the two guests that I have, which will be King Millsy and Lashaun themselves, as being, I felt like it's only right that the very first official episode be with the men that I started the whole Way2Raw thing with in the first place. So sense. It's gonna be a real dope episode. I'm gonna say now that I'm settled in, that should be dropping in September for sure.
Bad.
So
everybody make sure
if you aren't subscribed to it, you can subscribe to it now. It's the Way2Raw podcast. And, you know, it's going to be an interesting time because no script, no plot, no plan. It's just turning the mics on and having a conversation.
That's what's up, man. And that's how it should be. You can get your point across that way as well. I do want to thank you for coming on today, bro. It was definitely an honor to have you. And I definitely look forward to seeing the growth and elevation with everything you do. And again, man, just get started with everything. The team will come later, bro.
Facts. I appreciate it, man.
No problem, man. You're welcome back anytime. And I look forward to having a conversation about all the success you obtained in the meantime.
Definitely, most definitely, man. Same to you. This is dope. This is actually my first official podcast appearance, so it's pretty dope. Looking forward to doing these in the future.
Absolutely, man. And I'm gonna tap in with you on the beat side as well. But you stay safe definitely in Chicago, and just know that everybody praying over y'all, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of your night, man.
You as well, man. Appreciate it.
All right.